If you're a BJJ white belt and you constantly feel like you have no idea what you're doing, that feeling is completely normal and you're not alone. The most common question I get from white belts when they're rolling is, what do I do here? Or what do I do next? And the reason goes a little bit deeper than not being able to remember moves. Today I'm going to explain why that feeling happens, and more importantly, how to fix it so you can progress faster. The core problem or biggest issue for white belts is not that you don't know enough techniques. You're probably learning 2 or 3 every time you go into a traditional classroom setting. The core problem is actually that you don't have positional awareness, or you don't know where you are. The way I define positional awareness is having an understanding of where you are in space with relation to your opponent. On top of not knowing where you are in relation to your opponent, you might not also fully understand, therefore, whether that position is good or bad for you, and then what your goals are from that position. And so I often compare this to being dropped in an unknown city with no map, and then being told that you need to find the nearest Starbucks. If you don't know where you are, you're just going to go in a random direction and hope that you're right. And you might be right, but you're probably going to be wrong. And just like in Jiu-Jitsu, if you don't know where you are, and you might not even know where you want to go, then you're going to choose a random direction and hope that it works out. And that's why a lot of people end up feeling lost. And so if you want to get better faster, your first goal is very simple. Always know what position you're in. Even if you don't know what to do yet, you need to pinpoint on your jiu-jitsu map where you are. Just knowing I'm in closed guard, I'm in half guard, I'm in mount, that alone is a huge step, because then you can start attaching goals to the position. For example, if you're in closed guard, you can start attaching goals such as breaking your partner's posture, controlling the distance, start angling off your hips. Or if you're in half guard, you might attach the goal of getting an underhook back, removing your partner's crossface, and building back up to a guard with more distance between you two. If you know which side of half guard you're supposed to get an underhook on, you will be ahead of most white belts. So how do you build positional awareness, or a map in your mind of everywhere you can be in jiu-jitsu? In all of my intro to BJJ classes, we focus on 7 big positions or landmarks to build a foundation of positional awareness, or your map of jiu-jitsu. And those 7 positions are the closed guard, the half guard, the open guard, the turtle position, the mount position, back take, and side control. If you're just starting jiu-jitsu and you can consistently recognize these 7 positions, then you kind of have the outline of a map and you can start navigating. So when you're just starting out, you're going to be focusing on these big, obvious positions, but then you're going to start noticing smaller details. So for example, every big position has a lot of smaller positions. For example, are you in overhook closed guard? Does your partner have a 2-on-1? Are they standing? Do you have a scoop grip? And that's one way to break down the closed guard. Or in turtle, is your partner behind you? Are they on your side? Or do they even have one back take hook in? And we could do this for all of the positions, right? In mount, are they in low mount? Are they in high mount? Are they in S mount? Do they have underhooks? Every small adjustment makes a new position, or like a new little landmark. But then you can start attaching it to these bigger landmarks that you already know. Eventually what's going to happen is you're going to start connecting everything together, right? And then you'll see how maybe the overhook closed guard can lead into the S mount. The more you train jiu-jitsu, the more detailed your map is going to be. And the longer that you train, the more you're going to be able to make connections through the map. The reason why you'll hear a lot of advanced players say that jiu-jitsu is a game of inches is because every inch is like another micro position. So for example, an advanced player might not be thinking about a position as general open guard, but maybe they'll be thinking of that position as de la Hiva. But then an even more advanced player is going to think about it as de la Hiva with a far sleeve grip. And then an even more advanced player is going to be like, well, it's actually de la Hiva with the far sleeve grip with the foot stuffed inside. So a lot of black belts will have a very minuscule map of a million different little positions inside of a big position. And that's why you feel like you just can't penetrate through their guard or whatever sorts of defenses they're putting up. Once you understand all of these positions, then you can start building your game. ask yourself, what are the offensive positions I find myself in the most? Or you can ask yourself, what kind of guards am I recovering to when I escape the mount, side control, or back? Or what are the positions that are not pins, obviously, where I feel the most comfortable? That should be your starting point, and then you can start to add attacks. So for example, if you find yourself playing a lot of close guard, which a lot of people, especially beginners, feel comfortable doing because it's more of a stable position and still offensive, then you can say, okay, I'm going to start building my game off of close guard. I need 1 to 2 attacks from there, and those attacks are going to take me either into the mount or into the back take. Then from the mount and back take, I need maybe 1 or 2 submissions. That's really it. Now you have at least one position that goes from the beginning of the match to the end of the match. Whenever your pathways fail, it's for one of 2 reasons. Either you're just doing them wrong and it's a technical issue that you can fix, or you need to find a new pathway or get deeper into your path, right? So that means you either need to add more depth and more micro positions and learn more about like that pathway specifically, or you need to add on another pathway so that when your opponent elicits like a bigger, different reaction, you're able to diversify your attacks. To be really good at competing, you really need to carve out a few pathways that you are very comfortable in terms of depth and forcing just a few reactions from your opponent. But in order to get good at jiu-jitsu as a whole game, then you kind of want to build pathways from all of your offensive positions. So you'll need to be fairly comfortable knowing the positions of close guard, half guard, and probably a few open guards, and then funneling those into turtle, mount, back take, and side control where you can finish the match. But all of that starts with positional awareness. You need to know where you are and where you want to go. My students have had a lot of success cycling through these 7 big positions and just getting deeper and deeper through those. You're going to spend the rest of your life going deeper into all of these layers of jiu-jitsu, and that's the beauty of our sport.